is kinematic, has a box collider. Let's take that off, not a trigger. What's... Oh, that's why. Because I'm a doofus. Okay, there we go. Boop. Thanks, Josh. Right, because what I did is I saved the prefab out with the building turned off, right? So it started in inactive state, which means we got nothing. You get nothing! So I got nothing and liked it. Anyway, let's go back to our thing now. We now have a thing that destroys itself. I am going to leave this alone. Let's check that our log file kicked out a thing. Yep, building red, building, etc. This is the object that hit. Yep, see, it got hit by individual buildings in there. Actually, does my building red have a collider on it? No, see, it has a box collider. Yeah, just having a box collider worked in that case. Anyway, doesn't matter. It works fine now. Let's go with that. Now, the next thing we need to do is have the buildings appear at regular intervals, correct? This is now split from our death logic, right? Like, we don't have to send a message back saying that the building was destroyed, because the buildings will destroy themselves. All we have to do now is tell the buildings to start at regular intervals, and we're going to want them to start in a way that fills the scene up, right? Back to our get runtime. Yes, yay, woo! Okay, on event, game event, let's do global update. Okay, I use this very sparingly. This is basically every frame I am going to get the runtime. So how long has the app been running? This is not a great way to do this, but I should write a custom interval app that kicks out intervals. But what we'll do is, let's do this for now. This will work, and it's passable for a small project like this. Let's call this timer underscore building, too many letters, spawn. Okay, let's call this 0.5 for now. Sorry, actually, we're not doing that. Delete this. We do want this, but that's not where it goes. Hold on, add variable float. I was jumping ahead in my brain to the next node. So we get the runtime every frame. Well, what that's going to return here is essentially some frame length of time, like every frame. It's going to kick out a float. But what we want to do is add a condition, a comparison between floats, right? And say that when this sorry, time. Oh, actually, when this time is between those numbers, right? There's no min and max. This is actually not the right way to do this. I'm going to do this way. Add action time stopwatch. Okay. So every time is kind of rough because you always have to think of it as a sequence. So it can get a little bit hard on the head, but let's do a float. Right? It's going to kick out seconds, but we're going to check the time on update, right? So this, check the time, kicks out how many seconds. seconds the stopwatch has been running. So put this over here on graph enable. Start the stopwatch. Yes. Check the time kicks out the seconds. Now we're going to do add action condition comparison between floats. When the target float variable to compare against the range. When every time we check the time, which is every every update, this out some so that at least my things are not crossed, we're going to hold on. To make that actually work, I need to come back through this stopwatch and check the time. I don't want a I don't know if I want. Oh, right. Sorry. It was literally between floats. Let's do compare float. When we check the time, is this float, right, equal to this other float, right? So what's interesting is this is going to work only once if I don't do anything to this float. You know what? There's got to be an easier way to do this. Let me look through the time nodes. I've done this before a different way. So get delta time is a change in time. Okay, let's do this. Hold on, I am actually going to skip this out. Let's do time. Is there a time event? Okay, we could actually do this. Hold on. Get the runtime, and the runtime is let's do compare float, right? Get our runtime. Let's do a couple of floats here. I think we're going to have to do some math. I'm not going to be able to tack this onto that other bit there. Right? So when this float is equal to that float, we will kick off the whole chain again. Right? That's one way to do it. The other way to introduce this time function in here. Okay, I'm not going to do this so you can watch me struggle with the math. I'll do this off camera at some point and figure out our bit. But I'm going to go back to this send signal method that was working for us and do, instead of doing it in line with these bits that are spawned, we're going to kick off a action time delay, right? Turn off this single frame piece. Every time one of these guys spawns, we're going to start this delay. After this delay, we're going to send the signal back to add event signals receive signal. Okay, this one, how do we do this? Control C, Control V. When the owner sends a signal to itself, access the list again, kick off these objects. Now, the danger with this is I did it this way so that we can have a nice clean way to tune our time based on one variable, as opposed to putting it through a whole grip of math just to get spawning buildings at regular intervals. Let's go, let's call this time spawn buildings exposed to Unity. Let's make the default 0.5 seconds and save it. Okay, sorry, catching up on comments. Okay, just is everybody following me right now? I know it's Josh. Who else is in there with you? John. Okay, so this will work. I don't like necessarily sending signals to myself based on a timer. I think that's potentially error prone, but I'm gonna go with it. I probably need to come back and write a custom C# script at some point. All right, let's test it. Oh, I think the buildings are stopping themselves. Hold on, let me double check that. Let's come back over here. Yep. Move to location 40 to at least be a time that's longer. Time spawn buildings 0.5. Let's just call this 1 second for now. It has to be longer than a certain distance because I think the rigid bodies are hitting each other. Yeah, okay. 0.75. Let's actually also get the speed of the buildings. Building move time is 5 seconds right now. Let's actually make this 2 seconds. Change this to match, because we know that at full animation across 2 seconds that they're no longer in the spawn point. Well, what's happening is I'm spawning buildings that have physics on them, and then spawning another building with physics inside of it. They're interacting, and it's completely stopping their motion. Goes 1, 2. Okay, now we have a cycle. Let's tune this directly with this uScript. Is 1 second too fast? Yeah, just a little too fast. Let's do 1.5. This again, try 1.5 because I want to get those buildings out of the way. Okay, now they're piling up. Right, because they are running into each other. Is kinematic, collision detection discrete, interpolate is none. Let's do, there's a way to tell them to ignore collision. Let's actually turn these into triggers, because I'm going to take them out of that. Not going to make this mistake again. Apply that. Try this one more time. Script. Yeah, 1.5 is too short. Let's try 1.75. This is still error prone. This is going to take us a couple times. Yes, what is actually happening? Let's go look at this. How big? Let's It's got a rigid body on it. Should be really small. Where's the box collider?